Good morning, guys. Now, in this lecture, we will revise our second chapter or second unit, which is nothing but kinematics of flow. Okay. In previous lectures, in previous two lectures, we have covered or revised our first unit. So, first chapter was about the properties of fluid, in which we have seen many properties like density, relative density, specific weight. Then we covered viscosity, types of viscous fluids, means Newtonian fluids or non-Newtonian fluids. Then next we have seen about capillarity or capillary rise, then vapor pressure, then compressibility, surface tension. Okay, and in second chapter we have seen or we have studied about the pressure, various types of measurement devices for pressure. Okay, now in this lecture or in this revised session we will cover our second unit, which is nothing but your kinematics of flow. So first of all, we have to distinguish between kinematics of flow and dynamics of flow. So what is the basic difference between the kinematics of the fluid flow, and dynamics of the fluid? Okay, so as we know that in first lecture we have studied about various branches of the fluid mechanics. So first static and second is dynamic. Static is nothing but the properties which are related to fluid particles which are at rest, and the dynamics of the fluid flow is nothing but the properties of fluid which are related to the fluid particle which are in motion. So here kinematic, it is defined as the branch of science which deals with the motion of particles without considering the forces causing the motion. Okay, this is the motion of particle, but here we will not going to consider the forces which is causing the motion. Okay, so in this chapter we will see in detail the velocity at any point in the flow field which is studied in this branch of the fluid mechanics. Okay, so here that by using two methods we will describe the fluid motion. Okay, so first one is Lagrangian method and second one is Eulerian method. Okay, so at Eulerian method or Eulerian approach we will see in detail. Now we will first see what is the Lagrangian method and what is the Eulerian approach. So first, Lagrangian method, in which a single fluid particle, okay, single fluid particle is followed during its motion and its velocity, acceleration and density etc. described. But in Eulerian approach, the velocity, acceleration, pressure, density, these properties or parameters of the fluid which are described at a point in flow field. In Lagrangian method, fluid particle is followed during its motion, but in this method it is described, these properties are described at a point in flow field. And this the Eulerian approach, it is common approach or commonly used method in fluid mechanics. Okay, so we will see it in next slides one by one. Now next is types of fluid flow. As we have covered various types of fluid flow in our previous sessions, so in that we have covered first one is steady and unsteady flow, second one is uniform and non-uniform flow, then third one we have covered about laminar and turbulent flow, the next one is compressible and incompressible flow, the next one is rotational and irrotational flow, and also we have covered about one-dimensional, two-dimensional and three-dimensional flows. Okay, so these are the types of fluid flow and we will cover all these types in details. So first one is steady and unsteady flow. So what do we mean by steady and unsteady flow? So steady flow, it is defined as that this is the type of flow in which fluid characteristics like velocity, pressure, density etc. at a point do not change with time. Actually steady means the property will not changes with time. Now here the properties or parameters or characteristics like velocity, pressure, density at any point, they do not change with the time. Such flow is called as the steady. So mathematical equation will become, actually the property or characteristics does not changes with time. So parameter means velocity. So velocity with respect to time, it will not be changed. So derivative of velocity with respect to time, means dv by dt will become 0, because dv by dt, why it will become 0, because velocity is constant and at a point it doesn't change, means it will remain constant. It will remain constant means velocity is equal to constant, and if we take the derivative with respect to time of this velocity, we will get answer is equal to 0, because v is equal to constant, so derivative dv by dt is equal, it will become 0. Okay, similarly derivative of pressure with respect to time will become 0, and similarly derivative of density with respect to time will become 0, because this characteristics does not change with time. So velocity v is equal to constant, pressure p is equal to constant, and density rho is equal to constant at a given point in the fluid flow. Okay, now next is unsteady flow. Here the rate of mass flow is not constant. Now rate of mass flow is not constant, it means that the properties or characteristics like velocity, pressure and density, they will changes with respect to time, because the rate of mass flow is not constant, and rate of mass flow is not constant, it means density will change. Density changes, it means pressure will change, and as well as the velocity will be changing. So for this case, mathematical equation will become dv, means derivative of velocity, because velocity is not constant, so it is function of some parameter, so dv by dt it is not equal to 0. Similarly dp by dt it is not equal to 0, and d rho by dt it is not equal to 0. These are the mathematical equations for the steady and unsteady. Now we will see next. So first one is steady versus non-steady. This is the diagrammatically distinguish difference between the steady and unsteady flow. Now next is uniform and non-uniform flow. So in previous case, for steady state or steady flow, we have seen that the parameters or characteristics does not changes with respect to time, then we can call it as a steady flow. Now for uniform flow, there is one condition, that if the parameters, or for uniform flow, the parameter like velocity at a given time, okay, velocity at a given time does not changes with respect to space. Okay, so velocity at a point does not changes with respect to space, that is the velocity will not change with respect to the length of the direction of flow. Means suppose at point A let the v is the velocity at point A, and at some distance from this point, means suppose this distance is L, the velocity at point B is Vb, and velocity at point A is V. Sorry. So it means that from this definition, this velocity does not changes with respect to space, means with respect to length, means velocity at point A must be equal to velocity at point B. Sorry. So we can say that the velocity does not changes with respect to length or with respect to space, then such type of flow is called as uniform flow. Okay, means the parameter like velocity that does not changes with respect to length. So velocity of the flow at given time does not changes with respect to length, then such type of flow is called as uniform flow. Now next is non-uniform flow, means opposite to the uniform flow. It means the velocity of the flow will changes with respect to space or with respect to time, means velocity of point A it is not equal to velocity at point B, because velocity is changing point to point. So non-uniform flow, it means that the velocity changes time to time, and in uniform flow it means that the velocity does not changes with respect to length. So from this up to this we have studied the two flows. First one is steady flow, second one is uniform and non-uniform flow. So what about steady and unsteady? The parameter or characteristics changes or does not changes with respect to time. Okay, steady means the parameter changes with respect to time, does not changes with respect to time, and unsteady means the parameter changes with respect to time. So, and in case of uniform and non-uniform flow, the parameter or velocity, the parameter like velocity changes with respect to for uniform this does not changes with respect to length, and from non-uniform this will changes with respect to length. Okay, so this is about your uniform and non-uniform flow. Now, okay, so see this diagram, so you will come to know what is the basic difference between the uniform and non-uniform flow. So in this, see, this is the flow direction for uniform flow, means this is smooth because velocity is constant for every particle in this flow, but here velocity does not constant for every particle, so that's why due to higher velocities they will move in the random manner. So this will get you will get such type of flow, and this flow is called as the non-uniform flow. Okay, now next is laminar flow. Okay, so here see the laminar flow, and we will see the turbulent flow. So laminar flow. Now, laminar flow, it means that the fluid particles moves along well defined path. Okay, here see that these are the fluid particles, they are moving in a well defined and parallel path. Okay, so the fluid particles will along in well defined paths or streamlines. Okay, these are the streamlines, the fluid particles are moving in along a streamline, and these streamlines are straight and parallel to each other. So what about laminar flow? The fluid particles or fluid molecules will flow in a straight parallel path along a stream line. Okay, so this is about your laminar flow. So laminar flow is means every fluid molecules followed a straight path that was parallel to the boundaries of the tube. Now next is transitional flow, means next to the laminar flow. Okay, in this case, look, this is the flow pattern. Okay, in this case this is the flow pattern. In previous case the flow pattern was straight and parallel, but in this case the flow pattern is not straight but in parallel way. Okay, these are moving in a smooth manner but in parallel way. So in this transitional flow, every fluid molecules followed a wavy, it means this they will follow the wavy pattern, but they will move in a parallel path that was not parallel to the boundaries of the tube. Actually this wavy path is not parallel to the boundary, but each fluid particle will follow this wavy path and which is parallel to each other. So this is nothing but your transitional flow. Now next, it's turbulent flow. Okay, so what about turbulent flow then? The type of flow in which fluid particles will move in zigzag manner. Okay, fluid particles will move in a zigzag manner, and due to this some eddies will create. Okay, some eddies will form, and which are responsible high energy loss. Okay, so here see, fluid particles will move in a zigzag manner, or we can say that these fluid particles will move in a random manner. So they will cross each other, and due to this they will form some eddies, and which is the responsible for some energy loss. So this is the turbulent flow. So turbulent flow is nothing but every fluid molecules followed very complex path or zigzag path, or they will move in a random manner, and that led to a mixing of the diamonds. They will mix to each other. Okay, now the distinguish or the laminar flow and turbulent flow, how we can distinguish the laminar flow and turbulent flow. So there is a one property, as we have discussed in every chapter, that the laminar flow and the turbulent flow is distinguished based on the Reynolds number. Okay, so as we have already this derived in your 5th unit, that how this Reynolds number will be derived, or how this Reynolds number will be it will be responsible for the classification of the laminar flow and turbulent flow. Okay, so if the Reynolds number is less than 2000, then we can say that the flow is laminar flow, and if the Reynolds number is greater than 4000, then we can say that the flow is turbulent flow. And for transitional flow, this Reynolds number will vary between 2000 to 4000. Okay, so this is about transitional flow, okay, turbulent flow. The next is, okay, so this value of R determined the type of flow in the experimental tube. So R means Reynolds number. Reynolds number's value is given by the equation U into D divided by small nu, where U is the average velocity, D is the diameter, and nu, small nu is the kinematic viscosity. And in terms of dynamic viscosity, we can write it as rho times V into D divided by capital this long nu. Okay, so less than 1000 or less than 2000, we can say that it is laminar flow, and if it is in between 1000 to 2000, we can say that it is transitional flow, and if it is greater than 2000, we can say that it is the turbulent flow. This is the previous concepts, but in our reference books we have studied, or we have taken that the Reynolds number, if it is greater than 2000, less than 2000, then we can consider it as a laminar. If it is greater than 4000, we can consider it as a turbulent flow. Okay, so this is the laminar flow and this is the turbulent flow. Okay, this is the transitional, means this is laminar, in a straight and parallel path the flow is taking, but this is the transitional. Transitional means this will take a zigzag wavy pattern in which each fluid particle will be in the parallel motion, and this is your the turbulent flow, means mixing of the all fluid particles, or due to higher velocity they will mix and move in random direction or zigzag pattern. Okay, now next is compressible and incompressible flow. Okay, so what is the compressible and incompressible? So compressible means what? If the density of the fluid changes from point to point. Okay, compressible means the flow is compressible. Flow is compressible means its density, which parameter is changing here? So density of that fluid particle is changing from point to point, or in other words, density is not constant. Okay, so for compressible fluid flow or compressible flow, density of the fluid flow is changing from point to point, or we can say that density is not constant for the flow, then the such type of flow is called as compressible flow. Now, in case of incompressible, in that case density must be constant. It is opposite to the compressible flow. Okay, so for compressible means density does not change with respect to point. Okay, so in first case density changes with respect to point, or density is equal to, it is not equal to constant, but in this case density does not changes. Sorry, in first case density changes with respect to point, means density is not constant, but in second case density does not changes in the entire flow, then we can say that this flow is incompressible flow. So compressible is density of the fluid changes during the fluid flow. Second one is incompressible flow, density of the fluid remains constant during this flow. Okay, now this is the example. Okay, now effect of pressure on volume for water and air. Okay, first one is the water and second one is the air. Okay, so if we consider unit volume of 1, and if we apply the pressure on water, then it will remain same. But if we consider air and if we apply the pressure on unit volume, then it will become 0.5, half of the volume. So this is compressible and this is incompressible, because incompressible means density does not changes, and here density initially this was a 1 meter cube, but it will by applying the pressure it will become 0.5. So it means the density changes for this air, and for this case density does not change. So water, as we know that the density of water does not change and it is constant, is equal to 1000 kg per meter cube. Okay, now next is rotational and irrotational flow. Now in our lectures we have discussed about rotational and irrotational flow. So rotational means if the type of flow in which the fluid particles while flowing along streamline rotates about their own axis. Rotational means the fluid particles while flowing through the fluid flow, they will rotate about their own axis, but in irrotational flow they will not rotate about their own axis. Okay, so rotational and irrotational, do you understand? So rotational means flow in which fluid particle while flowing along streamline also rotate about their own axis, while in case of irrotational flow in which the fluid particle while flowing along streamlines do not rotate about their own axis. Okay, so this is the rotational flow. Look, this will be moving along their own axis, but for irrotational flow they will not move about their own axis, they will move in continuous manner. So this is about rotational and irrotational flow. Okay, now next thing is rate of discharge. So rate of discharge. So before this we will revise the types of flow in 2 seconds only. So first one is steady and unsteady flow. So what about steady and unsteady? The parameters like velocity, pressure, density for steady case changes or does not change. It means does not changes with respect to time, and in case of unsteady they will changes with respect to time. Now next is uniform and non-uniform. Uniform means velocity does not changes with respect to time, but in case of non-uniform velocity changes with respect to time. Then next laminar and turbulent and transitional flow. So for laminar flow fluid particles will move in a parallel path. For transitional they will move in a wavy form, but streamlines are parallel to each other. The next one is turbulent flow, in which they will move in a random manner or in a zigzag pattern, and due to this they will create some eddies, and which will cause the energy loss. Then next we have seen about your compressible and incompressible flow. Compressible and incompressible flow. Okay, for compressible density is changing, means density is not constant, and for incompressible density is constant. Okay, we have seen some examples also. Air and water. Air is compressible but water is incompressible. Okay, and next we have seen the rotational and irrotational flow. Rotational means the flow in which fluid particles rotate about their own axis while flowing, but irrotational means fluid particles does not rotate about their own axis while flowing. Now next term is the rate of discharge. Rate of discharge Q, or this is nothing but the rate of discharge Q. It is defined by the Q, and its unit is meter cube per second, as we have studied. So rate of discharge is nothing but it is defined as the quantity of fluid flowing per second through a section of pipe or a channel. Okay, so this will become equal to area times velocity, as we have derived this equation in our lectures. So amount of fluid flow per unit second, it is nothing but the rate of discharge, and its value is, its actually unit is or formula is volume per second or volume per second. Volume per second, it is also given in terms of area into velocity. Okay, so this is the fluid flow from this section and this is from this section. So this is diameter d and this is half diameter d, so it will remain constant. Okay, because and depending on that we have derived one equation also, which was that area into velocity. Now next one is continuity equation. Okay, so continuity equation, one dimension, we will see the one dimensional continuity equation. As actually one dimensional continuity equation is nothing but actually this equation, it is based on the principle of conservation of mass, and which is called as the continuity equation. Okay, equation which is based on the conservation of mass, we can say that the continuity equation. Okay, this is the continuity equation. So for a fluid flowing through a pipe at all the cross sections, the quantity of fluid per second is constant, or it should be constant at all the cross sections. So that's why it will become, so finally it will become the flow rate at section A1, flow rate at section 1 and flow rate at section 2. Now first we will find out flow rate at section 1, it is equal to rho times rho 1 into A1 into V1. Flow rate at section 2, it will become rho 2 into A2 into V2. Now density is constant, so actually it is incompressible flow, so density is constant. So first one will become A1 into V1, second one will become A2 into V2. So according to law of conservation of mass, so rate of flow at section 1 it must be equal to rate of flow at section 2. So it will become A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. Okay, so this is the continuity equation in one dimension, and this equation is applicable to compressible as well as incompressible fluid, and it is called as the continuity equation. Okay, now next we will see the continuity equation in three dimensions. Okay, so as this is the equation, as we have derived A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2 is equal to Q, this is nothing but the continuity equation in one dimension. Now we will derive continuity equation in three dimensions. Okay, so now consider a fluid element or fluid particle through a pipe of non-uniform diameter. Okay, the particle moves along the streamlines in the steady flow. Let the mass m1, this is the mass of fluid. This is m1 is the small portion of the pipe of length delta x1. Okay, the mass m1, it is a small portion of the pipe length delta x1 crossing area a1 in the sum time delta, and this must be or exactly the same as the mass m2 in the length delta x2 crossing area a2 in the same time delta t. So why? Because as we have we have known that this continuity equation, the principle of this is based on the conservation of mass. So the mass m1 must be equal to mass m2 according to the law of conservation of mass. Okay, because, and actually we have given this reason also here, because why? Because no fluid particles leak out of the pipe. Okay, so the fluid flow through this section 1 must be equal to fluid flow through section 2. So okay, so this is, from this we will get m1 is equal to m2. So for point 1 and point 2, the definitions of density rho in terms of mass m and volume m is given as m is, because mass is equal to density into volume. So for point 1 and 2, use volume V is equal to A into X. Rho into A into V is nothing but the mass flow rate at section 1. This is the general formula. AV is the volume flow rate. Okay, so it will give rho 1 into A1 into V1. It is nothing but equal to rho 2 into A2 into V2. So fluid is incompressible, so rho is equal to constant. It will use A1 into V1. Now it is called as the equation of continuity for the fluids. Okay, now Bernoulli's theorem. So now Bernoulli's theorem states that the total energy of an ideal and incompressible fluid at any point during the fluid flow remains constant. So actually this is your third unit, in which we will see the Bernoulli's equation, derivation of Euleric equation, then types of forces, then we will see the Bernoulli's equation theorem, then we will see the applications of the Bernoulli's theorem. Okay, actually this is up to second unit. So second unit, it will include only the equation of continuity for in one dimension. This is the one dimensional equation, and three dimensional equation, as we know that we have derived this three dimensional equation also, and it is given by the formula rho into, this is given by the formula that del by del x of rho u plus d by dy of rho v plus d by dz of rho w plus d rho by dt is equal to 0, and depending on that we have applied the conditions like steady and unsteady flow, uniform and non-uniform flow, compressible and non-compressible flow. So for steady flow, it will become d rho by dt is equal to 0. So it will become d by dx of rho u plus d by dy of rho v plus d by dz of rho w is equal to 0. Okay, so we will see this continuity equation 3. Okay, so equation 3, this is the continuity equation in 3 dimensions. Okay, and this equation is nothing but the continuity equation, and by using this equation we will derive, or we will distinguish the types of flow. So equation 3 is the continuity equation in the Cartesian coordinate, and in its most